Hello Internet, Jojo here. So we're just going to skip the intro and all that so we can get to the actual meat and tomatoes of this video. I just wanted to make a quick video about my thoughts on Deathbattle Sanji vs Rock Lee. First off, I have to admit, I was completely wrong. The one statement that I said with absolute certainty in my prediction video was that this fight was going to be over a girl. I was wrong. I have failed. My life is a lie. I am so sorry. I should just delete my channel right now. Okay, with the weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth over, let's get to my thoughts on the fight. So, first, the actual fight animation. It was great, I guess. Sanji was fantastic, and the raid suit was beautiful to look at. Seriously, I have never seen raid suit sprites, meaning that they were probably made exclusively for this fight. Deathbattle probably had these commissioned or had an in-house animator make them. Either way, much respect. However, Rock Lee at times looked like a cardboard cutout. It reminded me of the Bakugo vs Yang DBX, where he seemed to be flat, and I also feel like the torso and arms were a bit disproportionate. Of course, of all people, I know what it's like to animate with sprites, and this was not easy. So, I will not be holding that against them at all, especially when they give us hand-drawn animation like this. Love this. This fight gets an easy 9 out of 10 from me. I thought it was great, the music was phenomenal, and that the end scene was perfect. So with all that fight talk out of the way, let's discuss the thing that was actually close to my heart, Luffy's speed. Now, here's the thing. I will typically always default to what Deathbattle says in regards to calculations, and I will be adopting their speed calculations into my own calculations, as they are an authoritative source. Now, despite their authority on the topic, I might not totally agree with them at all times, but I do know that they did not just decide who would win in a single day. Deathbattle is a group of people who spend weeks debating and calculating, while I'm just a guy who's lucky to get one video out a week. So, them saying that Luffy was 13 times the speed of light was a major confirmation to me. Apparently, it turns out that I've been in the correct ballpark with my speed calculations, just my ballpark was a bit bigger. Honestly guys, my biggest fear is that I'm doing the equivalent of playing football in a baseball field, that I am so far off that it's not even funny. That's my biggest fear. Looking at you, All Might. After I've said this, I imagine that many of you are thinking, but Jojo, you said that Luffy was in the thousands of times faster than light category. And that's true. However, when you look at how I got my numbers that high, it becomes clear that the numbers I used and the ones Deathbattle used were not that far off. I just used a different multiplier. You see, the biggest multiplier I used was from 3D2Y, as Luffy fought Burned World and became 100 times faster. Deathbattle instead just bypassed that and took Luffy's most famous post-time skip feat and ended up with a speed of 13 times the speed of light. Now, when you remove the 3D2Y power from my speed calculations, I think that I went with one that was around 8,000 times speed of light, and you get 80 times the speed of light. But this is also including Gear 2nd and 3rd, whereas Deathbattle is only talking about base Luffy. If they had needed to, they could have scaled the raid suit to the Gear 2nd Luffy and easily ended up with a speed over 100 times the speed of light. But they didn't need to. That's really what I saw in this battle. They only showed what they needed to, and no more. Deathbattle could have talked about Zunisha hitting Jack, the knock-up stream, this explosion, Zoro cutting these cannonballs, pre-time skip Luffy busting Island, and far more feats. But they didn't because they didn't need to. Also, here's an interesting thing I noticed. They did not use any feats from the movies. It looked like they did because they used the footage, but they really just said that Sanji could scale to these meteors. That's it. They used fancy words, but in the end, that's all they said. They even used the meteors from the manga, so there is no reason to even show this clip from Stampede. But they did that because they didn't have to go any higher. The point was made. Now, something else I found fun was during the wrap-up. At the end of the fight, they say several things that caught my ear. First was that
Lee had only one somewhat reliable method of a possible victory, the 8th gate.
You can basically hear and feel the question marks in that statement. This implies that there's a good chance that Sanji could have survived getting hit by the 8th gate, and they even go on to say that a couple of big hits from the 8th gate and he would have been
A
paced.
couple big hits from the 8th gate and Sanji's nothing but paste.
A couple of big hits. This means that there's a decent chance that Sanji could have survived several big hits from Lee. Then they go into how Lee would actually have to hit Sanji and compare him to base form Luffy. But what I really thought was intriguing is that they say that if they ran this fight 100 more times, Lee would probably win a few times.
If we were to run this fight 100 more rounds, Lee would surely land a winning blow with it a few times.
Deathbattle knows the power of words. They themselves have used the term few in a death battle before, where it meant 3 or more, but it would be stretching it to say that it was more than 5, as you get into several territory. Whereas other fights tend to sit at a 60-40 win-loss split, this is, at most, a 90-10 split. Not to mention that they never actually say that the 8th gate could one-shot Sanji. I've seen many people say this, but they say the exact opposite. If this battle had a theme, it would be, they told us what we needed to know, nothing more. Seriously, it's not like these laser feats magically appeared after Zoro fought Urza. No, Deathbattle told us what we needed to know, and that's actually for the best. As someone who has calculated feats myself, I can say that there's leagues more stuff that they didn't tell us in every episode. The things in my head that I have learned and seen would make you wonder how it all fits in my brain, and I can only assume that is that way for Deathbattle. If Deathbattle or me were to tell you everything we knew about these characters, it would take hours. A good example of this is going to be coming up on this channel. When One Piece hits its 1000th chapter, I am going to walk you through every relevant feat of power that Luffy has ever done in those 1000 chapters and movies and stuff. It's going to be long. This is just going to be talking about power. So once you see the length of that video, you'll know kind of what I mean. If me saying that piqued your interest and you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure that you do that and have your notifications on. It's going to be a big one, and you're not going to want to miss it. Please watch it. By the time it comes out, I will have spent months on it. Just for this one video, I watched almost everything that had One Piece's name on it. From movies, specials, tie-ins, crossovers, a couple games, and even a music video. So make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, make sure your notifications on so you don't miss it, and then we're golden. That said, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Remember to stay spectacular. JoJo, out.